Hello everyone, so welcome to scheduled planning, and I'm going to talk about in this video about float, slack, and buffer. So every task that we have, every task in a project has a time window, okay? A time window in which that task needs to be completed. And as long as the task is completed within that time window, then the project is not delayed. Now, some time windows are greater than the duration of the task, okay? So that means that you have time and flexibility to change it. But other time windows are exactly the same as the task duration, and therefore you don't have any flexibility. So this extra time that we have between the time window and the duration of the task, we call it float or slack or buffer. Typically, I'm going to refer to it as float. And float is something that is extremely important because float is created on how you make your plan. Okay, float is born out of the relationship between tasks and out of the estimates you give to each task. And I want you to think about float a little bit like a piggy bank, but instead of money, for time. So it's time that you have that is extra or that you can save because later on you might need it. But this only works if you start all the tasks that you can as quickly as possible rather than delaying. A lot of times changing the plan will change the duration of float that you have, and float can really be used as a time reserve. And trust me, because problems in a project will for sure happen, and having that float in certain tasks can help you really bring back resources to the critical path, for example, without delaying the whole project or even by accelerating the project. So don't use float as a way to start a task later and procrastinate. Rather, save it, start the task as quickly as possible, and if you have a float, use it later to reallocate the resources when a problem does show up. So to summarize, indeed, using float is a very easy tool that we have, and it's a great investment in terms of time because it can really save your project later on. Like I said, problems in a project will happen for sure. And by having these little floats or by having these little extra times that you saved in certain tasks, it can really save your project from collapse, or it can actually save your project by making it look much better than what you originally planned it to be. Thank you very much for watching, and let me know if you have any questions.